What's up, guys? This is Chris here, and today we're going to be talking about 5 awesome truck guns. These are going to be guns that you can use, surprisingly, in your truck for whatever application that you think you need a gun in your truck for. Now, before we do that, I do want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. It's because of you guys we have guns and ammo and cool shit on the channel, and if you want to support the videos, that's the best way to do it. Just go to the link in the description below. Also in that description is a link to a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It's the YSS. Those kids could really use your help, so please go down there and donate to those kids. Now, truck guns are always a controversial subject because there are debates on whether you should either have one or not have one. Sometimes people who are definitely in the know recommend you never have a gun in your truck, and sometimes they recommend you always do. I'm of the group that sometimes you should, sometimes you shouldn't, depending on where you're at and what you are doing. However, I am in a very rural area, and a lot of times I'm in my truck a lot and I never leave my land. So a truck gun for me is very, very useful, especially considering I often shoot videos out of my truck. So there are often more than one gun in my truck. I think that there's a lot of philosophies of use when it comes to the truck gun and a lot of types of firearms that might work very well. So we sort of spread that out a little bit in this video to give you a couple choices of each.
Hey there, hottie. Lorraine, Mrs. Honest Outlaw here. Real quick, we want to thank the sponsor of today's video, TacPack. TacPack is always filled with awesome new products for you to try out. We always say that getting your TacPack box is like Christmas Day, and this month, TacPack is actually celebrating Christmas in July. Sign up for the Plus and use code HONESTOUTLAW. You'll get a free gift of gear worth at least $125, which is double what they normally offer, so this is a big deal. This freebie ships inside your first tack pack, so it's like you're getting 2 for 1. You are going to find your new favorite thing in your tack pack box. Thanks to TacPack for sponsoring this video. Let's get into the list.
So let's get right into it with number 5, a very affordable option that might not be the best, but it certainly is going to be a solid entry for this list, and that's going to be the Mossberg 88. Woo! Now, the Mossberg Maverick 88 is a very common truck gun I hear about people using a lot, and mainly because it's effective in close range, and if it gets stolen, you don't really give a shit because it's $200. Now, you're going to care because you're going to have to contact the ATF, and you're going to have to go through police reports and things like that, but overall, as far as the financial burden, it's not going to be as much as some of the other guns on this list. The second reason why the Mossberg 88 is a great choice is because of its versatility with ammunition selection. You can use slugs for long range, you can use buckshot for close range, and if you, let's say, live in Alaska and you need to shoot some birds to survive, you can have some bird shot in there. And even though it doesn't have the world's most awesome choke selection and things like that, trust me, Country Boy can still survive, and you can still hit plenty of birds with an 18-inch Mossberg 88, especially if you know what you're doing. Now, the Mossberg 88 is an affordable shotgun, but it is a phenomenal shotgun. It's very reliable, it's very accurate, and again, very versatile. You can set it up for either a slug gun, you can set it up for a home defense gun, you can put a 24-inch barrel on it, and you could use it for bird hunting all day long. And the fact that you can do all those things with it for such an affordable price, and you still have the benefit of, in case it gets stolen, you're not out an arm and a leg, it's a pretty good choice for number 5. Now, in my personal experience, the theft out of the car is not as big of an issue if you take practical precautions. Number 1, make sure it's not just sitting in the back in a gun rack. Number 2, make sure it's not just sitting on the seat. Make sure it is hidden. Make sure it is locked, by the way, especially if you have children in your car at a regular basis. You're definitely going to want to take advantage of the many devices on the market today for locking down your firearm inside your car. Most of the time, in my personal experience, you just have to deter crime, not stop it. If you can deter it to the point to where it's easier to go to somebody else, you've probably won. There are other options as well, but I think that the Mossberg 88 is a solid choice. Now, in at number 4, we're going to go bougie straight out of the gate. We're going to go a little more expensive. We're going to talk about the Sig MCX. Now, the Sig MCX is a wonderful choice for me because it adds a lot of versatility to the rifle platform. So first off, it is a piston-driven intermediate caliber rifle that you can get in either 308, 277 Fury, you can get them in 5.56, you can get them in 300 Blackout, and I've had all of those but the 277 Fury, and all of those guns run wonderfully. So if you want to have a close-range CQB super quiet setup, you can go the 300 Blackout. If you want to have the standard, I want to use AR-15 ammunition and magazines, you can use that 5.56, and if you want to go big or go go home, let's say you live in Wyoming or Alaska or something like that, you're worried about bear, maybe you want to do a little hunting on the side, the 277 Fury or the 308, in my opinion, is a phenomenal choice. Now, these guns are very expensive, and if you're going to leave this in your truck or if you're going to keep this in your truck, I would recommend making sure to take advantage of some of the things I mentioned earlier. And also, you don't got to leave it in your truck all the time. You can drive around with it in your truck, and when you get out of your truck, you can take it with you. Now, the Sig MCX is great because it folds. It's also great because it's extremely reliable and accurate, and for all the situations in which I would want a truck rifle, I think it applies and exceeds a lot of those expectations. Recently adopted by the United States military is the standard infantry weapon, making it extremely well tested and extremely versatile in its application, just like the 88. But in this case, you're going to add about 1,000 yards of range onto the average shotgun if you choose that 277 Fury or that 308. Hits hard, can deal with bears, can deal with elk, can deal with people pretty well, and on top of that, it is a phenomenally good looking gun. Now, that gun, instead of $200, is going to be somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 depending on what caliber that you get. The 5.56 and the 300 Blackout can be found relatively affordably, but the 7.62 are shockingly expensive, and if you're on a budget, definitely to avoid. Now, in at number 3, we're going to be talking about a handgun, a big handgun, because I think a big handgun is a really overlooked philosophy for a truck gun, because sometimes you want something that's a lot bigger than your carry gun, but you don't want it so big that you can't carry it around, which is why I've always thought large handguns are sort of the forgotten PDW or forgotten truck gun, in which case we're going to be talking about the Glock 34. Now, the Glock 34 is one of my all-time favorite big guns. Not only is it big, but it's very lightweight, with a 5.5-inch barrel, a striker-fired polymer frame design, and it only weighs a little bit more than its smaller counterparts, maybe 1 or 2 ounces more than a Glock 17, and you get an increased sight radius, increased velocity, and increased shootability. Now, the Glock 34 is a wonderful choice for anybody who carries a small Glock. Let's say you carry a Glock 26, you carry a Glock 19, or even a 17 on duty. You're going to have those mags either on you or you're going to have some in your truck, of which your larger PDW-style handgun can use as well. Now, personally, I'm a fairly experienced handgun shooter, but I can engage targets with the Glock 34 out to 150 yards if I need to, and 9mm is effective enough to use in a survival situation as long as you are accurate. I know that there's a lot of misinformation, I guess, about what 9mm are capable of, because you always compare them to the 45, which can shoot a plane out of the air. The 9mm is more than effective enough with correct shot placement to even take down deer, especially in a survival situation. So it adds the lethality necessary. It's going to be good enough for a lot of confrontations, and the fact that you are going to be able to conceal it extremely well by comparison to a lot of the other truck guns that are on the list. Sometimes firepower isn't the most necessary thing. Sometimes looking like a gray man, even though I hate using that term, is a better application. For example, maybe you need a gun for when you come home and you see your door broken into, it's shattered, you have kids in the house, you call 911, you rip out the Sig MCX, and you go in and clear that house. The Sig MCX is a great choice for something like that. However, maybe you are in a very unsafe area, and maybe you just feel very uneasy and you want to carry a bigger gun, but you still want to conceal it. Well, in that case, the Glock 34 is a better choice than the Sig MCX, because not only is it more concealable, but you can get to it much quicker. So if you have a Sig MCX in your bag and somebody comes at you with a kitchen knife, it's not going to do much for you other than maybe be a pseudo shield, because you're not going to be able to get it out on time, whereas if you're appendix carrying a Glock 34, you can make him regret that. In at number 2, we have the Beretta A300 Patrol.
Now this is what you want, baby. This is so awesome.
The Beretta A300 Patrol is one of the better shotguns, in my opinion, that you can get on the market, and especially for a truck gun, because it blends a lot of the pros of a truck gun that we've talked about already. Number 1, it's not the most expensive shotgun, especially for a semi-auto. These can be had under $1,000, which is phenomenal. So it sort of eases a little bit of the burden of it possibly getting stolen, but it adds a great deal of shootability over something like the Mossberg 88, while still giving you all the versatility of the Mossberg 88. Now, we can use slugs in this, we can use birdshot, and we can use buckshot in this gun. You can use different barrels if you want, and on top of that, this gun is much more ergonomic and shootable than your Mossberg 88. This A300 Patrol was actually designed, spoiler alert, to be in patrol cars, so it sort of was already designed for this application, just for law enforcement, not for civilian use. Now, one of my favorite things about the A300 is that it's very, very lightweight. So if I were to throw a sling on this and I would have to carry this a long distance, listen, let's say I get stranded in the middle of the wilderness in Montana and I have to walk out like 10 miles and I'm worried about bears, I can strap this bad boy to me and take it with me if I have to. Now, the second thing that you can do with it is it's easy to mount optics on this guy. It's easy to operate the charging handle. It has a very big and easy to use set of controls. It has a really good trigger and it honestly looks super fucking awesome. The multicam looks great. The fore end is one of the most comfortable fore ends that I've ever felt, and it has M-LOK attachments in the fore end already for weapon lights, so if you want to illuminate something at night, you can do that, which is even important in a truck gun. It has a front fiber optic with a blacked out ghost ring rear, and it has a wonderful set of sights and ergonomics, and the Beretta A300 is one of the better semi-automatic shotguns you can get for the money. So far, this has been extremely reliable, although it's not quite as shootable as my Benelli M4. It's certainly a damn sight more shootable than a Mossberg 88. So you're paying a lot more, but you're getting a lot more performance out of it as well. And with the capacity of 6+1, you can definitely put down any threat you need to, from two-legged creatures to four. Overall, I think the Beretta A300 Patrol is one of the better shotguns you can use for a truck gun, and personally, my pick for a semi-auto that I would choose. In at number 1, we have the Bravo Company 14.5-inch AR-15. Just because that's my truck gun. The BCM 14.5 has been my truck gun for a very long time, and it's because it does everything that I personally need it to do. It is relatively affordable, under $1,500, completely kitted out. It is extremely reliable. It's ridiculously accurate out to 500 yards, which is the only distance I need it to be accurate to. And on top of that, it's extremely shootable, and it's relatively lightweight. Now, it doesn't fold like the Sig MCX, although I actually don't need it to. Where I store in my truck, I have enough space for a full-size rifle. With the collapsible stock, it fits just fine. And in personal use, I prefer the AR-15 over the Sig MCX. I like the fact that the AR-15 isn't quite as front heavy as the Sig MCX, and I just have so much more trigger time on it that it just makes sense to me. Sometimes the best gun for you is not the best gun, but the best gun that you can use. And in which case, I have tens of thousands of rounds on Bravo Company rifles, so of course that's what I feel comfortable with when I'm in a serious situation. That's what I would want. I would want the thing I've used so many times, and it's so intuitive that I don't have to think about it. I can just use it well. And not only do I know how to use it, but I know it's going to work. The Sig MCX I know is reliable from other people's experience, but from my personal experience, I would rather trust the tens of thousands of rounds that I have on the BCM over the 1,000 or 2 that I have on the Sig MCX. I don't need it to fold, and I don't really care about the piston system, so the BCM works best for me. Now, you can pretty much supplement any AR-15 from this, anywhere between an 18-inch all the way down to an 11.5, or even maybe a 9-inch 300 blackout if you live in an urban area. It really depends on where you live and what your application is, but I guarantee you can find an AR-15 that fits perfect for you. And if you're interested in Bravo Company, they do make a 9-inch 300 blackout. They make a 10.5, 11.5, a 12.5, 14.5, and I imagine they make an 18, a 20, and a 24. So if you're interested, get a hold of them badasses in Wisconsin, get yourself a Bravo Company. That was my list for incredible truck guns. Maybe not the best truck guns of all time, but certainly a list of my personal favorites. Put in the comment section below what you use as your truck gun setup, and maybe I can see some stuff in there that I'd like to review for myself. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out Oklahoma shelters. Check you later.